We are going to take a look at a really interesting radical equation that is going to also allow us to look for more than one solution potentially, or maybe just one, or maybe none, and review some algebra tricks along the way. Let's get started. First, we are going to start with this equation k minus 20 plus 20. So the k minus 20 is under the radical, and then k is going to be on the right-hand side. Okay, as before, all the time, whenever you see a radical equation, you want to isolate the radical, which means that you want to have it on one side and everything else on the other side. That means that we want to subtract 20, get rid of 20 because it's bothering us, right? Because the radical is saying, okay, I want to be by myself. All right, so now we're going to get square root of k minus 20. And then over here, this is going to cancel. And then we have k minus 20 on the right-hand side. Okay, what do we do next? Next, we're going to raise both sides to the power or equal to the index of the radical. Now, when I say index of the radical, what are we talking about? We're talking about the number that usually appears right here. But you would say, well, there's no number. Well, that's because it's a square root, and square root, we usually don't write the number, but the index is 2. What we're going to do next is go ahead and square both sides. Now, when you square the right-hand side, it is very important to make sure we've got parentheses around that k minus 20 squared. Okay, what will happen on the left-hand side? When you square a square root, the square root goes away. That's basically the main trick that everybody's using when they're doing radical equations, okay? And once the radical goes away, you're just going to get k minus 20 on the left-hand side. Now, what are we going to get on the right-hand side? Hopefully you remember, but if you're not, that's fine. Just FOIL it. What is k minus 20 squared? It's the same thing as k minus 20 multiplied by k minus 20. So maybe you know that this is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Maybe. But if you don't know, it's no trouble. We're just going to go ahead and do FOIL, which is first, so that's k squared. Then let's just say outer, so that's minus 20k, right? Then inner, and then finally last. Okay, so the inner is going to be another negative 20k, and then negative 20 multiplied by negative 20 is going to be 400. Okay. And then when we simplify by combining like terms, we can see that these two guys are going to simplify to negative 40k plus 400. Okay, so I showed that. Let me just go ahead and get rid of this stuff. So to leave me more space. What do we do next? Well, actually, this is a quadratic equation, but you have to move everything on one side and have a 0 on the other side. I think it'll be easier to just go ahead and subtract k from both sides first. And we're going to subtract k over here. And then we're also going to add 20. Why not? We just do that in one step. Okay. Combine it. Okay, so what's going to happen is it's going to cancel here. And on the left-hand side now, we're just going to get 0. Okay. When everything cancels, it means it's 0. Then what? It's going to be k squared. Now, this is negative 40 minus 1. That's negative 41k. And then 400 plus 20 is 420. Now we have a quadratic equation to solve. What can you do with this quadratic equation? It is probably going to factor by trial and error. Basically, you want two numbers that would multiply to 420 and add to negative 41. What could these two numbers be? So maybe like 20 and 21 or something like that. Let's see. You can also use quadratic formula here. So what is 20? Well, okay, is 420 divisible by 20? Yes, and that's going to be 21. But two answers should be negative because they add up to a negative. If you add negative 20 and negative 21, that's going to give you negative 41. Okay? And the answers are, I just guessed it, but it's negative 20 and negative 21. Okay, so we can factor k minus 20, k minus 21. Okay, and then we're going to get a 0 on the other side. Next, we're going to use what's called zero factor property. Now, let me remind you what That is, whenever you're multiplying two things and the answer is a zero, the only way for that to happen is if the first factor is zero or the second factor is zero, not both. Because both, that just kind of defeats the purpose. If both of them are zero, that's not going to happen. And also, you don't need it because you only need one of them to be zero. If you're multiplying something that is a zero by something else, it's always going to be zero. Okay? And what that means is that we're going to now look at two equations. K equals 20, because once we solve, right? Over here, we're going to get k equals 20. And the other one is just going to give us k equals 21. So the same thing, k minus 21 equals 0. Add 21 to both sides. Okay, it looks like we got two solutions. I just can't emphasize enough how careful you have to be because they catch you. They catch you right there. Okay, you think you got it. Everything seems right. Everything goes your way, but then it actually is not correct. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to plug it into the original equation. So we've got two solutions, 2021. We think they are the solutions, but maybe one of them is what's called extraneous. Okay, so let me just open Desmos over here on the side. How do I check it? I am going to enter the left-hand side, okay, the way it is, except instead of the unknown, I'm going to put parentheses with nothing in them for now. Okay, now that should be equal to that k, which is should be equal to whatever number I plug in here. Let me start with 20. Do I get 20 on the right hand side? Yes. So I plugged in 20 and I got the exact same thing because I'm supposed to get that k, right? Now let's try 21. How about that? And 21 also works. So that's perfect. That means we got both solutions.